favorite competition show, The Floor. My friends Brad and Heidi are back this week, yay, and we are joined by two of our favorite Season 3 Floor contestants, Mike and Emily. This week, a new whale emerges. Robin comes alive in an action-packed game of quarters. The American education system comes under fire, and everyone learns what a cacao looks like. Welcome to Reality Redux and our recap of The Floor Season 3, Episode 8. Welcome, everyone, and welcome back, Heidi and Brad and Mike. Thank you again for returning. And Emily is our new face this week, and we're thrilled that you could join us. I know just from chatting with you that you've been traveling a lot, and you are currently not even in your home space, but you took a minute to hop on with us while you're out of town.
I haven't been home for a month and a half, but here I am. I'm in beautiful Miami, Florida right now, enjoying Miami Music Week, but I'm super happy that I was able to take the time and see you guys and chat for a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. And Mike, thanks again for coming back. So this week, Mike, you're the king of the castle for a while. It was kind of exciting to see the momentum shift to the other side of the floor, to see Brian a little on the sidelines, although he did have a lot to say on the floor. He got a lot of clips from producers this week, which was interesting. But, I would like to just get right into it. I know we've got a lot to unpack in an hour, particularly this episode. There were so many ups and downs and highs and lows and dramatic turns. So I'm excited for us to get started. I'll start us off just by saying Duel 1, we had Mike who inherited rom-coms. And he decides that he's going to stay up there, and he's going to keep going. And he takes Annalie with competition.
Balls to the wall.
Sorry.
Angie, first, I got to chime in here. I got to tap in for a second. One,
Get it going.
this is Mike's third time on the show, so he's now officially a three-timer, which is that's legend status. Although he come from another show to come on our show second tonight, I'm gonna cut him some slack. Throw him a bone here. But I would be remiss to say, I heard rumors last week that Alex was talking a little smack that I wasn't on the show.
Oh, I thought we could bypass that, but we're not going to.
I'm not letting that go tonight, because I want to say, Alex, Alex thought he could really hammer me last week. And I want to say to Alex, if he's listening, this is my show, and I will TKO you. That's my... I'm just throwing the gauntlet out. Well, it's Angie's show. I'm just on it. But I'm just saying, Alex has a lot of... I want to get into Alex as we talk about this episode, because there's some things I want to unpack in this that bothers me.
That's very fair. Do you want to get some more off your chest before we...
About Alex, yes. Okay. I want Alex to come back on the show when I'm here.
Well, absolutely, because he's still on the floor, which means we'll have another opportunity to court him. And he enjoyed himself. He said he had a great time, and I'm sure he's looking forward to it.
But just because he's not on the floor, he can still come on. Mike, we love you. You can come on all the time if you want. You have a VIP pass to the front. Trust me.
Absolutely right.
Anyway, Angie, I just had to say that. It's good to see Heidi, too. I haven't seen her in a while. Emily, I got a lot to unpack with your duel, if that's what we want to call it.
Yeah, if that's what we want to call it. Yeah, we are gonna. I don't know. It's gonna. That broke my heart. I'm speeding up, by the way, because I have a lot to say about later.
Okay. So, keep going, Angie.
So Annalie, she's a competition veteran, right? She was on Amazing Race with her dad, I think.
What season was she on?
That I didn't catch. Does anybody know? Mike, Emily, do you know what season Amazing Race she was on and how she finished? Like, was she a contender, or were they out and winded after the first child?
No, they made it pretty far. Either all the way to the end or almost to the end. Okay. They were around for quite a while. I forget exactly which season it was. 30, one of the recent ones, 34, 35.
Well, she seems young enough. I don't think she was on when she was like 12, so it had to be recent enough, right? Yeah, that's a good point. Well, you'd think she'd know her competition shows. I thought it was a great category, to be fair. Of course, we were all hoping the floor would make an appearance. And, my friend Tom from season 1 was the screenshot for that, so I was really excited for him. That was fun. It was fun to see Rob do his little side, grin. That was really cute. But in the end, Mike took it all the way. Were there any weird graphics in that one for folks? Anything you didn't know? There were a few outliers, I think, that really stumped some people, like Road Rules Real World, the challenge.
Oh,
I
I
think was
knew that
one.
by heart. Right
Oh,
away.
I knew the challenge.
Yeah, that was an
That-
easy one.
This was a
Yeah,
Heidi category. I was like, Heidi should be crushing this right now.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the challenge was the one that Annalie was beating herself up the most
Yes.
about too.
Yes,
You know,
she was.
because we'd have had some conversations, and she was actually, you know, like one of her goals is to be on the challenge. And so it didn't maybe
Well, and
maybe
you
didn't help
know-
her case that
Good luck
much, but
now.
Yeah, good luck now. Ooh, Emily, that was.
but I
sorry.
guess I'm not going to be on Project Runway anytime soon. So you know,
Well, I thought.
Oh,
you
I'm
were
going. I'm actually going on next
Runway.
season, Mike. So
I thought I could see that coming. I could see you on Project Runway.
yeah,
Mike, I
there
really
wasn't
could.
anything too crazy. I will say, in studio, the mole, it was harder to see the logo. Like had I
one I
clearly seen
knew.
that print that was on there, I would have known it was the mole. And I will just say it was a bit harder to see in studio.
Yeah.
Unless you
can-
watched it and you recognize the people, that was a hard one. I couldn't
was.
remember the Shazam one. I was like, what's the name of that show?
which
Yeah.
one?
I don't even remember anymore. It's
The
something,
chase
something.
was hard too. I didn't remember the chase.
Oh, the chase.
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched it.
We I used to watch that show because they had the girl would go Beastie because he was like smarter than everybody on there.
Yeah, and Beastie's still big out there. He's on Game Show Network. He's on Masterminds. He's on a bunch of things. But
They should
yeah,
get
that
him
was
on the
old
floor.
school Beastie. Yeah, that would be a good time. But yeah, I thought it was a decent category. It was a fun category. It was a little different. And then Mike, you were like, okay, I want to go for this time boost. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit up Robin. Now, I gave Robin a hard time because I called his first duel like the snooziest, festest duel ever in floor history. I could barely stay awake. But God bless him, he rallied, he got up there, and we knew it was going to be toe-to-toe because, Mike, you mentioned this on air. It's a finite category. I think there's 50 state quarters, there's 5 additional ones with territories, and there's more than one state quarter because there were series, so they could probably have gone a little deep with that. And we thought you guys would bring it, and you did. It was actually kind of fun. It was a good speed round. What'd you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It's probably my favorite one that I was a part of. Like between that and Islands, those were my 2 favorite duels that I had all season.
I forgot about Island.
Yeah, but I knew
Mountains in the sea. I remember that. Mountains in the sea.
I knew Robin
Yeah.
was going to know his quarters, and
Oh my
I also knew that I was going to know them faster.
Yeah,
And so,
that was incredible. That was epic, and you were right on it. That was great.
Boom,
Well,
boom, boom.
One, Robin had his Geritol, so he was awake, which was good. Robin is Angie's least favorite player. She
Oh
is.
my
it's-
God! Don't say that. He's a lovely man. He's just slow. sedate.
Robin, I know she loves you, Robin. I'm just giving Angie a hard time, but I will say that duel, the quarter duel, amazingly the best duel of the night in my mind. It.
It was
Yes.
incredible.
Yes,
Emily, we're gonna get to you, but that was y'all. Nobody missed it. Y'all were so sharp. Mike, you
Oh.
crushed me in the quarter duel.
He lost it with Puerto Rico. I was heartbroken. I'm like, Puerto Rico, come on!
oh yeah,
Puerto Rico.
I was sad
a
about
quick
that one. I knew that one. Isla de Encanto. It says it right on there. Like how do you?
That one took him a few seconds, and I'm pretty sure he lost that duel big time because of Puerto Rico.
I was already ahead on time at that point.
Yeah,
to be
you were.
fair, I think I had
he
it
was
in the
close.
bag,
It
but
was close.
It was
Jacob
the nail in the coffin for sure.
Jacob says it's just another. He said just another duel naming states. I've seen it.
Yes. Oh, no, fair. I will say this. To me, it could have been called state mottos.
Yeah.
The quarters were just a vehicle for state mottos, honestly.
well, and half of them show the outline of the state on it.
Yes,
so
they
I
did.
wasn't clear at the beginning if they were actually going to like include that or edit that out somehow. But
Yeah.
they were like, "Yep, it's going to be there." So like, really, you only had to study less than half of them
Yeah.
So,
if you
lot
know what the state
easier.
looks like.
Than I
Mike,
expected.
question for you, Mike. Do you know a lot of them before you study, or did you just like study? And I think you said it's a finite number of them, right? So,
Mhm.
so what was your approach for learning them?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, I knew all the ones that have the outline of the state on them. So that's like basically half of them. So at this point, I only need to study 25 or 30. And then I knew another 15 of them already. So really, like that were the ones that were new to me that I had to study was like 15 of them. And so it only took me 30 minutes of studying to be confident in going up against Robin.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good cramming study, flashcard, Google image kind of quick review one. So,
And Mike had Mike had momentum too. There's momentum counts for something on this game. Robin had no momentum. You had all momentum. What was you gonna say, Emily?
No, I was just gonna say I feel like this is actually one of the only categories this season that was very black and white, other than the category black and white. But it was extremely black and white, and it was just like, this is what you need to study, now memorize.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's no
where
ambiguity.
All the other ones, there was definitely moments where people were like, do you know what my category means at all? Like, do you know how they're gonna put this on the screen, how they're going to do this? There were, multiple people every single week or just every single episode that we filmed being like, I have no idea how they're going to do this. But this one was, I feel like, the only one where it was like, definite. This is what you need to study.
Emily, I can't remember, help me out. Is your category water brands?
It is now water brands, yes.
Okay, I had this discussion with Jacob today on the phone. Is this water bottles? Is that what we're talking about? Are we talking about anything in the water world, like
anything,
like Sea-Doos?
I can tell you whenever I.
Okay, next week.
Again.
Okay.
But you're right. You're right. That's ambiguous, Brad. You're right. Like, state quarters is pretty straightforward. They could have technically taken the shape of a state and divided it into quarters and shown us a quarter of a state.
Oh, that would have been better. That would have been better.
I think that actually would have been more challenging and maybe more interesting. But it was what it was. I'm not the producers, but I'll freelance if anybody needs some advice.
They should listen
Game
to
master.
this and be like, we are totally spinning this in the future that way. It would have been epic.
It would make it way better if they did state quarters and just showed quarters of the state.
A state like Kansas, like a quarter of Kansas. Like, which quarter? Like, I don't know.
It all looks the same, man. I just was in Kansas last week. It's such a boring state.
But state quarters, I'm just kind of saying, I could have gotten really clever with that. It would have been a good time. But we're getting closer to Emily now. So Mike's like, yes, boom, got my time boost. Bye, Robin. You've had a great run. See you later. I'm heading back to the floor. Let's see what happens. And then we get into Emily's little universe, and Katie gets randomized. Oh my gosh, she seems like the sweetest lady.
The
you guys were
sweetest
friends,
girl.
right? In that area. Tell us about her.
So we had Girly Island back there. So it was the Amazon and Water Brands and me, Team Geronimo's. And we were just like this little island in the back corner that, unless one of us got randomized, nobody was really going up against Tony. So it's like, we were pretty safe back there. And then Amazon gets, Katie gets randomized, sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was just the sweetest girl. We both flew in from New York together to film the show. And so we were close from day one. And she is Korean and I speak Korean. And so that's when you got the little sound bite of me saying, you got this, I love you. Which I was super happy they included.
Could you say, I'm going to make you perform like a little monkey, which is really rude, but could you say this is my favorite podcast in Korean?
Oh.
이거 제일 좋아하는 podcast이야.
Okay,
I'll take it.
I gotta learn more about who Emily is. How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know Korean?
Yeah.
Well, I did Taekwondo growing up. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, which is a Korean martial art.
Gosh.
So we learned the basics, or me and my sister, we learned kind of how to count, say hello, say goodbye, that kind of thing. And then when I went to NYU, there's so many Koreans in New York City that is so easy to just like, you meet one that becomes your friend, and then you meet their friends and their friends and their friends. And then the next thing you know, you're in K-Town until 4:00 in the morning, drinking. And that is the best way to learn a language, is to sit with the people who are native speakers and learn all the bad words first, and then learn all the drinking games. And then you start to actually learn grammar the more you go and do it.
So you did the K-Town Bar immersion course.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. I feel tired hearing that.
So Emily, are you from New York then?
I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, but I lived in New York for almost 10 years, and now I live in Los Angeles. I just moved in September.
Do you like the show Kim's Convenience?
Oh, I love that show.
Yes!
It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Have you watched it, Heidi?
So cute.
Don't
It's
know what it is.
it's on
Oh,
Netflix.
you'd
You
love
would
it.
like it. It's so good.
Convenience, okay?
Kim's Convenience. It's about a convenience store. It's
Also,
really
I'll send
good.
you a link on text to
Yeah,
where
it's so good.
A
You'll like it.
convenience store where?
In Canada.
Toronto, outside of
In
Toronto.
Toronto, I think, yeah.
It's so funny. My wife and I love that show.
It's a good time. It's
What
a good
made,
time.
what made you think about that?
Korean, because they're Korean
she's-
grocers.
It's a Korean show.
I will say, most of the Korean in that show is really terrible, though. I will say
Oh,
that.
no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
My brain goes everywhere.
Were you two talking in Korean the entire time on the floor?
Almost the entire time. We did have moments where we were, if it was our kind of secret weapon back there, that if we wanted to talk about somebody, we would just do it in Korean.
Oh.
And I didn't expect them to include any of that in the, after post, because I was like, there's nobody gonna know, what. But then they
It was
included
very
that little
cool.
clip.
It was.
I was
it
so
a
happy
cute
that they
moment.
included that, because she really was one of my best friends throughout filming, and we got, so it was really nice.
Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about that friendship for a minute. So Katie picks Mariana on the Amazon, and which I thought was a decent category. There's some unambiguous images. It went pretty
Yeah.
quickly. Of course, Katie really seemed to freeze up a little bit. I wonder if she was terribly nervous. She missed bat like right off the bat, which was sad to see.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mariana, who apparently feels like she's also part of Girly Island, and that you guys had some kind of pact, and that you were going to hang out on the floor together and watch everybody else go down in flames while you waited till episode 12 and win it all.
Give us the tea. Give us the tea.
Yeah, what happened?
I need everybody to lean in close for this one.
Okay,
Come
what
here,
happened?
come here. She never said that to me at all, ever.
Yeah.
She made
went
that up?
there. Yes, she went up there and said, "I won't bat." I told my girl Emily that I'm not going to battle you.
Right.
She never said that to me. I knew she was coming for me, and then production made it seem like I was this scared little
Waif,
girl in the
trembling.
corner, trembling. I remember she picked me and I said, "Okay, come on, let's do this." And
We
I
saw
walked
you
up
do
there.
this though. You were more like,
They had to have used a clip from a different reaction.
It was
to something.
creative splicing
Which-
and dicing.
It was extremely creative, and it was like this big shock moment. I understand why they have to make good TV. I totally get it. But the fact that she went up there and said that, I was like, girl, you never once told me that you weren't gonna come for me, please. But okay, do your thing.
I like Emily. I like Heidi and I like Angie, but I'm not making packs with them on the floor. Like if Heidi has a category I want to take, I'm gonna take it.
They're coming for it.
And I want to say this to Mike. Mike, I'm so glad you didn't get your time boost and pull an Alex and just want to do a category you really like and use that time boost. I'm just saying.
Alex, those are fighting words. Come on the show, fight back. Okay. So Mariana comes for Emily. Emily's teen dramas. Now, I mean, you look young. I won't ask how old you are because I don't know if it's relevant, but I assume maybe you're also an actress. They kind of just assumed it was a good category for you. I've got to ask you, did you watch a lot of teen TV, or did you just kind of freeze up a little? Because there was a lot of casting in this duel that broke my heart. Could you tell us a bit about your preparation or lack thereof?
Yes. I came into the show kind of doing my whole audition process and things like that with Shakespeare. And Shakespeare is my category. Or, funny enough, who was right in front of me for a long time was like fantasy films. And so, boom, we're about to start filming. They're like teen dramas. I'm like, cool. I don't watch TV.
So how did they pick that for you? Are you an actress? Did I miss this? Are you an
I
actress?
am an actress, yes. So probably.
Wait, what have we seen you? What have we seen you in, Emily? What have we seen you
I
in?
was in Law and Order. I was in an episode of Law and Order.
Were you a special
Oh.
victim? Were you a special victim?
Yes, I was trafficked from Albania.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
really?
Did you do an Albania accent?
No.
Oh.
The one scene that I had that had dialogue got cut, unfortunately, because they film the week before it premieres, which is crazy. It's very fast. So
They do?
a lot of things get,
What?
or at least they did for that season and those episodes. Yeah, it was. I
Random,
think
you
the
were-
release was a week
Random-
away or 2 weeks
Random
away.
question: were you a double of like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? You look like her. Have you ever
Oh,
done that?
okay.
Oh, you're right. She should play the young Mrs. Maisel in like a
You know what's so
flashback.
funny is I got cast in that as a different role, and then the day before the fittings, they're like, "By the way, the scene is cut. The director cut the scene." And I go, "Cool."
Is Rachel Brosnan is her name, right?
I believe
The actress
so.
who plays
the main
Maisel, yeah, but you
She
do
would-
like a young Maisel.
She would play a young Rachel Brosnan because there's no way Emily's over 24 years old. There's no
I'm
way.
gonna be 28 in July.
That's so random. I said it only because you look like her. As soon as I saw you, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you look
Thank
like
you.
like
I have
Maisel.
gotten that before.
Okay. And so it was so random. And you're like, oh, by the way, I was cast. I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
Heidi's awesome.
As you can see, TV and film, it's all a lie. Everything's a lie. You know? It's
Can-
like-
can-
it's-
Can I
yeah.
interject? Can I ask you this, Emily? Okay,
Sure.
we're on episode 8 at this point. You do not watch television.
Yeah, back to it. Yeah.
Do you watch movies at all, Emily? Do you watch?
I do
Okay,
watch movies.
okay,
I do
so
watch movies.
could you not have studied up the teen drama category? Because I'm gonna be 46 in a few months. I should not know more than you on teen dramas. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And my favorite
well,
line of the night was Clint going, "I'm 40 years old and I knew more than she did." That was my favorite line of the night.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I think your age actually helped because a lot of them were from the 90s and the early 2000s.
Dawson's
when
Creek,
I was,
baby.
Freaks and
I mean,
Geeks.
I
Freaks and
knew
Geeks.
Dawson's Creek. The
Buffy.
thing with I knew Degrassi, but the Degrassi,
I didn't know that.
like there's all the different versions of Degrassi,
Fair.
and I didn't recognize that one. Here's the thing: is we were so unsure of how they were going to play this game. We had no idea if it was going to go like, here's this actor, name the actor from this teen drama, or here's the actor, name what teen drama they were in. We had no idea. And when you go online to study these types of things that are like, what is a teen drama, other than like the obvious ones, Pretty Little Liars and
Gossip
Buffy
Girl.
and
Gilmore Girls.
Gossip Girl.
Where was 90210? That wasn't shown.
That
No,
was like,
90210
I
wasn't. They
studied
didn't get deep
90210.
enough. I don't think they got deep
No.
enough in the catalog to in the
But
duel.
then things like Stranger Things was on
Yeah.
there, and I was like, I don't consider that a teen drama, but thank God I knew it because everybody knows Stranger Things.
I didn't know
Um,
Victor. I didn't know that one.
Love
I don't know.
Victor.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, well, that and The Summer I Turned Pretty were more recent streaming
Summer I
shows.
Turned Pretty, yes.
I
Yeah.
never-
I didn't have an
Very new
18-year-old.
one.
I wouldn't even have watched
I
it.
would have got 60% right. I think I would have got 60%. And Jacob says 60% would have won.
I actually love the fact they brought up some old ones, new ones, and they
Me
mixed
too.
it up because
Yeah.
that brings a good variety behind it. So
Yeah.
personally, I love that they mixed it up with the time frame. But I'm
And
with
it
you.
would have made it competitive, right, Heidi? Like for
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
like you, and then somebody
Yeah.
like Emily, you could have been competitive because they had Seventh Heaven on there.
Yeah,
Because they had these
but
shows
that one,
from back
it's
in the
so
day.
interesting. That one, I was like, "What's that?" I recognized it, and then I saw it. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, they brought it back."
Heidi,
You know?
I used to go to friends' houses and watch the new episode of Seventh Heaven every
I
week.
used to watch it
Yeah.
too.
It was wholesome. My parents, they were like, "It's so wholesome." He's like a pastor, and they all
Yeah.
just, it's
But
like,
I'm surprised that Jacob brought this up. He's surprised they showed that since Stephen Collins
he's
is
a pedophile.
a pedophile. Like he's a rapist. So why would they show that?
Yeah,
but-
Emily, spoiler, don't watch
Yeah.
Seventh Heaven now. It's
I can't watch it
I
anymore.
won't.
It's
I
a
had no
different show
plan
now.
to.
It's-
I
It's like
didn't
the
know that
Cosby
one.
Show. I can't watch it anymore.
Okay, so now Emily, after being betrayed publicly by Mariana, who said you had a truce and threw you under the bus, you've recovered because you're like, I'm just gonna go back to the floor. I'm gonna just lick my
Wait,
wounds.
wait. We're
Wait.
interrupting. Go, you go. You can go first, Brad.
Well, I want to say the Amazon category. My son is 12. He was like, "Dad, this was the most boring category on the show."
Good.
He did not like Amazon. Is that where we learned what the cacao? Is that
Yes,
the-
we had the cacao seed, which looked like this ridiculously large, like
It's a
blue
big,
elephant.
yeah.
I don't know what a cacao is. I know what caca is, but I don't know what cacao is. Emily, do you know what caca is, Emily?
Poop.
Yep. Boom.
Well
See?
done.
Well done. You passed.
I knew that one.
You're
You're
the
officially on the
slime
show
person.
now.
Wait, but I have a question for Emily. So Emily,
Yes.
have you talked? Her name was Mariana. Is that
Mariana,
right?
yeah.
So, have you talked to Mariana after? I was like, girl, like this is it. Like, tell us the tea afterwards.
No, we didn't really talk. You know, we have a big group chat and we were kind of sending things back and forth last night during the episode. And, you know, obviously there's no hard feelings. People say things to make good TV all the time. It was totally fine. But I will say in the group chat, I was like, you know, I was just happy to, you know, have Girly Island and hold it strong, you know, winning or losing our battle is what I said to Mariana last night.
Nice.
And then Alex messages me separately and is like, are you being just a really good actress right now? Or like, and I was like, no, for real. He was like, I was like, no, I'm dead serious. This is like, you know, I guess maybe my answer would be different if I had lost my battle. But, you know, obviously we did get to hang out in our little Girly Island for a while. And she definitely kept more to herself than a lot of the other players did. We were kind of all running around the board, and she kind of just kept to herself for most of it. Yeah.
Well, now unfortunately, it is Team Estrogen has only one representative. So I think Tony's around you, but you're kind of alone now. And
I am.
You went back.
It did feel nice to have full control of my little island. It was, you know.
And you're next to Alex, aren't you? Next to Poetry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he also texted me last night. He's like, "Thank you for not coming for me in Poetry because you being an actor, I feel like you would know all." Yeah. I was like, "Listen, if you're giving me Shakespeare, I got you all day. But like any other like actual poet, I'm like." Like, the lights are on, but no one's home, you know?
But, you know, that gets us to the next duel a little bit. You know, in the intro, I mentioned that Americans and our education system came under fire. I think that it was really interesting that Katina, who's randomized next, and has physics, basically has a moment where she's like, you know what? It was an interesting defeatist mini speech of like, I don't think I'm going to last very long, but you're going to feel my impact because even though I'm probably not going to win, physics is going to be the whale and somebody's going to have to take it on. But physics is a lot like poetry or math or some of these other quote unquote academic subjects that people seem very afraid of. And I do think that's interesting. So she does get up there and she's taken on Mike. Mike, how surprised were you that she was coming for the whale piece? Did you just anticipate once you go back, as soon as a perimeter piece is randomized, you're going to get it? Or did you think she was going to take on a smaller territory first?
Well, I thought most people that got randomized were probably going to take me on. And there were a lot of people that could have done that, and especially a lot of females around me that I had been, you know, scared of the entire time leading up to the episode. But then it got Katina, and she gave her speech, and I thought she's talking about STEM, she's talking about science. I thought she was going to go for medicine, honestly, because medicine was right there, and it seemed in her wheelhouse. And, you know, if she goes after medicine, then she gets to hang on to physics and potentially duel in that. So I really thought that's the direction she was going. So I was a little bit surprised when she said that she was going to come for me. Now, that said, I've also felt like if she was coming for me when medicine was an option, that she must know something about rom-coms.
Right.
Like I would, my thought was she's not going to just like go after a category she knows nothing about just for the sake of getting physics out there.
Yeah, and then we found out that neither of you knew anything about rom-coms. And
I knew a lot about rom-coms.
Not to throw you under the bus, but there was a lot of passing. It was like teen drama part 2 in this.
I knew them all. I just didn't have to answer any of them.
I know. No. Don't get me wrong. What I meant was you didn't get a chance to demonstrate your knowledge of rom-com.
Exactly.
Like, what we learned was nobody knew anything because we didn't see anybody demonstrate knowledge because she had a pass for the entire duel.
I was dying inside the entire time that was happening.
I need to be tapped. I need to be tapped in here for one.
Here we go. Tap in, Brad.
Brad was dying. Like, how do you not know that? Go for it, Brad.
Jacob says, this is hilarious. So much scandal on the floor. He wants to say that. And he says, what's her name? Katina? Her impact was like a crop dust. Everyone affects for a second, then it's gone. Like, it's just like she had very little impact. That's what Jacob said, not me. I didn't make the fart joke. But I will say this, Mike, I have railed against the floor for this problem. Mac, who I like last season, I brought this up to Mac. Mac, you used your time boost and you never spoke.
Exactly.
I feel like there needs to be a rule. You never tapped into the game. You never set foot on the court. You never had to say a word. You just sit there and you watched her go pass, pass, pass. How in the world can they justify taking your 5 seconds from you? Now, I've been on here. I'm on record. I think the 5-second time boost is stupid. I don't like it. I've said it on here. But, Mike, I wanted you to have it because I wanted you to beat physics. And I'm rooting for you. It just made me mad. Like,
I
Angie,
appreciate you were rooting for me, Brad, because apparently no one else on the floor was.
I was
know,
watching.
there was so much smack
we
talk
know you.
against Mike.
Whoa.
What was going on?
I know. My coworker today at work,
Whoa.
he was like, he listened to the show. Jeremy, he was like, my wife, we haven't watched it yet. And I did. And he said, my wife's favorite is Mike. And I'm like, oh, she's going to have a rough night then. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, it's not good. I'm just saying, it's not good.
So tell
But
us
Mike,
why? Why the hate for Mike? This,
Yeah.
I mean, was it just Splice and Dice production, or was there real? Emily, you were down there. Were you hearing whispers? Was there a cabal against Mike of all
No.
people?
I mean, we were on like kind of opposite sides of the floor for a
Fair.
long time. I don't remember hearing any of that. I mean, it's so weird. That's so weird to hear. But maybe it just completely passed me, and I was too busy, you know,
Yeah, I
apparently
don't
not
know if it
studying
was
teen
just-
dramas.
Maybe it was just
Yeah.
editing, but we had Kaylee literally praying against me. Like
The prayer was weird.
oh, that's stupid.
That was a bizarre moment of just like, why are you that invested in this duel? And what did Mike do to you? I was like,
I know. And Mike's the nicest guy. I mean, he's so nice. But
Yeah, he's so nice.
I will say, I feel like the floor, Heidi, you've heard me say it. I'm not a fan of the chatting they show during the game. Like, I'm just like, let's see the game. I don't care about it. The floor,
like it.
Heidi likes it.
Love it.
I'm not. The floor this week made Brian look really chatty. I feel like they gave him
I think it made him look chatty, but also kind of
a bad. Yeah, it made him look. The floor.
comments they chose were kind of negative.
Yes, thank you. It made him look like a douche last night. And
I
I've
don't
liked
think
Brian.
I mean,
He's
a
not.
nice person, but the way they splice that and the way he's like, oh, Mike's stammering up there. I'm an actor. I recognize when people are stammering, they're off their game. He's, you know, the idea that it was like, what? And what was the other thing you said?
When did Mike
Yeah.
stammer? Did Mike stammer?
I'm up there stammering, and then I went on and won 2 duels. So that was
Yeah, so that must have been.
You
your
weren't
super
stammering because I was like, he ain't stammering, man. He ain't
Yeah,
stammering.
it was a little odd. Hopefully, when Brian comes on, he can talk about the editing and let us know how he felt. But Mike, yeah, you didn't get a chance to demonstrate. I'm sure you knew rom-com. You'd inherited it. I'm sure you'd studied it. It was disappointing that it didn't happen better. I wanted those were fun categories for me. I love rom-coms. I love anything with Sandy Bullock in it. I mean, really, you just had to study like Sandy Bullock movies and Matthew McConaughey movies, and you were halfway there. But unfortunately, Katina didn't, and that was kind of sad. But she felt she made her mark. She made her STEM statement. Good on her. And then, Mike, at this point, you burned the time boost.
Well, Rob called that out. Rob was like, well, great.
He did, Heidi. He did. He made a point of saying, well, I didn't need that,
Yeah.
Like throw salt in the wound.
That's the
Yeah,
risk we
for
take.
real.
It's
But
bad.
I also feel like you can't go home with it in your pocket. I mean,
No.
same as in Survivor. You don't go home with an idol in your pocket. You're on the
Exactly
floor. You
right.
don't go home with the time boost in your
I
pocket.
didn't go with one, so that's good.
Exactly.
No, but you're right. It's better to use it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And it's
Yeah.
like that's how you have to play that.
But it would have been nice to have it in your hip pocket for physics.
Yes,
would've been.
because Mr. Shane with his swagger. I
Ugh.
thought that was really interesting. We're gonna get there in a minute. We have to give them parades first. Mike's like, okay, phew. Gosh, that was an exhausting duel of just standing there watching Katina pass. So I'm gonna go down to that on the floor.
Yeah. Let
you
me
did.
wipe my brow.
Yeah, let me wipe my brow. And so the randomizer picks up Ashley, who's got Beyonce as a category,
Oh,
and
I
she seems really disappointed that she's not going to be able to defend it at that moment, and she's got to
Yeah.
pick somebody. And she goes for Shane. Now, we saw Shane before with Oceanography. He seemed like a capable fella, and so she brought him up there. And the category's parades. Now, this was a category, like you're saying, Emily, that to me is a bit ambiguous. And the way that you can get creative with state quarters, parade seems to be something you could chop up 100 different ways too.
Yes.
What were some of your theories about what that category might hold when you were on the floor?
Oh Oh God! I mean, everybody was kind of conspiring as to what this parades category was going to be like, and people were like, "Oh, maybe famous parades," or like think like Disneyland and all the parades that go through Disneyland. But like, how do you name that other than like Disneyland Main Street USA Parade?
Right.
Like something like that. So I feel like, and Mike, you can jump in on this too. Like, I feel like everybody was just kind of being like, okay, well, we'll wait and see, but like, hopefully we don't have to do that one because, like, who knows at this point?
Yeah, I was assuming it would be more like the Macy's parade and the Rose Bowl
Yeah,
parade
yeah,
and Carnival and Mardi Gras. Like, I was really
Yeah.
upset when we didn't get to see Mardi Gras on there because I
Yeah.
went to school in New Orleans and that's my favorite
Or
parade.
a St.
but-
Patrick's Day parade.
Exactly.
Or like
There's
naming it by a holiday or an event as opposed to
Mhm.
actual components.
Yeah.
And it was
Right.
Shane's inherited category, so I think it was a good choice from Ashley's perspective. Take him on as something that he inherited and is also ambiguous. And it was
Right.
a pretty tight duel for a while. And then we had some blips and blunders, and it ended up not going in Ashley's favor. And the floor seemed pretty upset for Ashley. I mean, they had more cutaways of cast members kind of looking crestfallen at the way that ended. It was Ashley a fan favorite? What was going on there? You got some insight?
No, I'm giggling with Mike because okay, I've been out of the country for the last couple months. I haven't been able to tune in to kind of these recaps. Mike, have we talked about?
I think it's
Shane?
safe. I think it's
Tell
safe to
us.
say that most people probably were cheering for Ashley.
Yes.
That seems oddly vague, and I'd like to press you further.
Yeah, me as the floor fan,
Yeah, in the
I need to
service
know
of-
this.
In the service of a recap and understanding floor dynamics, is there any further details you might offer those listening? And of course, you are welcome to abstain and take the fifth. But what's going on there? Because
You're not welcome to take the fifth.
Brad, you should ask Alex about this when he comes on next time.
Oh,
I mean, Alex
yeah.
may not speak to me because I dog Alex out.
If you
I love
ask him
picking
about
with
this, he
Alex.
will.
You know what? We don't. I was just,
Alex
you
will
know,
gladly talk about this. For
then
sure.
we can get his perspective as well.
I would
just-
say Shane wasn't everyone's
Yeah.
best friend.
So Shane, is Shane the guy, the mechanical engineering guy that went against you?
No.
Yeah, that didn't know
Yeah.
Albert Einstein. Yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one who has the baby, the guy
Yeah.
who said he had a 6-month-old named Summer,
yeah.
and then like had like a
You don't have to.
moment felt a little.
You don't have to say it, but let me say it from my perspective. I'm sitting here watching the show with my 12-year-old, and I'm like, this guy looks like a douche, and I can't even remember him from Oceanography. I thought this was the first time I've seen him. He came marching up, which was weird, and I just like, this guy thinks he's hot stuff, and I'm like, I don't think he is. And I want to say about parades, I feel like parades is an old man game. Because I know parades as a 45-year-old, but I don't feel like 20-somethings go to parades anymore, Angie. I don't feel like they care. So,
Brad, question about that. They
Yeah.
have plumes. Would you have actually thought of saying plumes?
no, I wouldn't have said plumes, but I was going drum major, and it was like, I was
you
going,
didn't get- drum line.
I said drumline. I was saying all the old man stuff. Like, Robin would have wiped the floor with Shane in parades. I'm telling you, old man would have known it all. Just saying.
I mean, I was
I
also
saw
yelling
plumes, I
Lombardi
was-
Trophy, but I don't think
Oh,
it had
yeah.
anything to do with parades.
No,
Well-
Yeah.
neither did Rob Lowe because his face on the cutaway
no.
showed confusion as well. I thought that
The
was
Lombardi
odd.
Trophy is a parade. They have a parade, a Super Bowl parade in your town when you win
Yeah,
it.
was
but
a
why
Super
don't you
Bowl
take
parade.
championship trophy then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
True.
you're right.
True.
but that was an oddity.
I thought they would show Santa. I thought they would show Santa Claus because he's
Yeah.
always in every Christmas parade. Like
Yeah.
there's Santa.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I thought that Glockenspiel was tricky as heck. I mean,
oh,
to
that
tell
was
the
terrible. I didn't
difference-
know that.
That was
Yeah.
horrible.
To tell the difference between wooden and metal bars on the floor
Right.
in studio
Yeah.
on those screens would have had to be very difficult. And a marching band Glockenspiel is a much larger version that they
Right.
carry.
When's the last time you've seen the
not a tiny
Glockenspiel in a
thing.
parade?
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't know.
Years.
But
Yeah, never.
let's get back to so we'll spill the tea on Shane in our after hours episode. I'm just saying.
Can we speculate? Let's
Okay,
speculate.
okay.
We don't have an after hours episode.
I was gonna say, I was like, I want to be on that one.
Hey, Emily, come on, work
Tell me
advice for me, and we'll talk
Koreatown.
about Shane.
It's held in
Okay, okay.
Koreatown in New York, our after hours
Yeah.
broadcast.
It's at 4:00 in the morning. Everybody's
in
drunk.
K-Town.
It's gonna be great.
Be there. Okay.
Be there or be square. This is what I will say. Everybody kind of from the very beginning of filming had this. Shane kind of walked in with this, I'm a big YouTube star, I know everything. Let me flirt with like the entire cast and yada yada yada. And he was, charming but also very douchey. To where we just got into a whole argument in the group chat like 2 weeks ago.
Is he in the group chat with you?
He is, unfortunately. And
Did he
was
flirt
like-
with you? Did he flirt with you?
Oh yeah.
I mean, look
Oh,
at
yeah.
her.
I mean,
Angie. Stop. I mean, I'm not going to get totally into all of that because it's not important to say the specifics, but I think Mike is correct in the sense where he didn't really take the time to make a lot of friends. Everybody I feel like had their moments with him that were like kind of nice and supporting, but then for the most part, he just knew how to get under people's skin to where everybody was just like, like no.
So there was
Is he like a popular YouTuber?
he went viral for that video of cracking an egg underwater. He also has a video channel where he picks up pollution from the underwater ocean area around Hawaii.
really
where he
riveting
lives.
stuff.
that sounds boring as crap.
But I'm curious though. Like just having a viral video here and there doesn't make him popular. Like, is he like legit?
He has a couple million followers, I believe,
Yeah.
and he does well on TikTok and YouTube. And,
Yeah.
People
There are some
watch that
very-
stuff.
Well,
I
there's
mean,
some very lovely ladies in his videos that are very
Yes.
popular.
With
I was gonna
I
say
saw
that,
a
but I
bunch of
didn't know how
back
to say it
ends of
respectfully.
women.
people.
I saw him saying, "Here, you like this, Brad." I think he was okay. So I was curious about this dude. Like I try to research people, and he was upset, I guess, because a lot of his TikTok videos were taken off for adult content or inappropriate content. And he's like, it's just women in bathing suits. But then I would watch some of his videos and I was like, yeah, but you're basically following behind a female diver with your GoPro up her patootie as she's swimming and picking up ocean debris. I'm like, this is a weird fetish that people have. Apparently, they say there's a fetish for everyone. And it looked to me like the videos were a little, like, I could just tell that maybe there was some objectification.
Well, of course there is. I was like, because nobody wants to watch people pick up garbage in the ocean. I mean, my son is 12. He watches people light farts. That's what he watches. I can't imagine. It's like,
What, Heidi?
What's his last name again? Okay.
Hell if I know.
Googling it.
I don't want to give him more press on our pod.
no, let's not even give him the. He's not coming on, and he's not even listening.
What's next?
I'll text
gotta
you with the
Google it,
Kim's
though.
Convenience link. I'll text you Shane's last name. I'll send it all to you after.
My son was looking him up, Angie. Couldn't find him last night. He's like, YouTube's content creator. I don't see him anywhere.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll show you.
does your son
his
have
stuff.
parental controls on his YouTube?
No,
That's
he doesn't.
Why you can't find them.
There you go, Mike.
But now that I know that he's videoing women's cracks, I don't really want my son seeing that.
Yeah.
So
Mike, you're 100% right. It's an NSFW kind of thing, I think.
He literally in the group chat we got into this whole argument while I'm in China. I'm on set for like 14 hours a day, filming 2 projects.
Wait, what are you filming? What are you filming?
Mrs.
The
Maisel
two
goes
ser-
to China?
two seri- Yeah. Perfect. I did 2 like short series over there, and then I'm actually flying straight from Miami to Oklahoma to film another one.
Are they going to be on
So-
on like Netflix and stuff? Are we going to see them?
Yeah, so it's actually companies that are owned by TikTok, and they do pretty much vertical series, so they fit on your phone like this, and you don't have to turn it or anything, and they're becoming super popular in the States and in China. And so that's why I flew to China for a month. What am I saying? Thank you.
Wow.
But I was like on set, and he makes this comment about just me like not holding my own as an actor or something. Because I was like, I said something along the lines of, oh, well, producers will make people think that you said something on TV just to make good TV, and then I said, oh, but you wouldn't know that because you just make YouTube content,
Oh!
and then he was like, oh yeah, because you played a dead body on Law and Order, And I was like, actually, I was in a full episode. Thank you so much. You know, and again, you would know that if you did anything more than film girl, like OnlyFans girls on TikTok.
Yes.
Well,
Girl.
now you can flex and say I was on the floor recap show, douche.
I mean, your resume is getting deeper by the second.
This will be on your IMDb, by the
There
way.
it
Hell yeah,
There it
Wilkie.
is.
Hell yeah, Emily Off. Search it up.
I'm gonna search you, Emily. I'm
That's
gonna
one I
add
do
you.
follow.
So that we're gonna get to that because Ashley lost and everybody was sad, including myself. And we've got to talk about Shane and Mike. And this was a moment I have to say I was very saddened. I try not to be very emotional about certain things, but Mike, I gotta say you've kind of been like my guy from the start. I like you as a human. I think you're a genuinely good human, and I love that, which is why I like the people that are on the show with us tonight. Heidi and Brad are just good people. You seem to me to be good people and also just a good player. And finding that combination is kind of rare. Sometimes it's one or the other. And I thought you were great. And I was really rooting for you so hard. When you were the whale, I knew you likely wouldn't last till the end because just statistically speaking, you're going to have a higher chance of being eliminated because you're going to have a higher chance of dueling more than more people. But gosh, was I pissed that Shane got that. I guess all the people, him taking it just really salted the wound for me too. How would you feel about physics, bro? What are your thoughts now in hindsight?
You know, I was more comfortable in physics than I was in rom-coms. So like when I inherited physics, I was like, you know what, that's fine. You know, I'm pretty comfortable in physics. I would have liked to have that time boost still, you know. But I also was like, okay, this is Shane here. And so another anecdote about Shane. I met Shane the first day when he strolled up, and the only footwear that he brought was flip-flops. And they were like, he was shocked that they weren't going to let him on stage in flip-flops, and they were going to have to find shoes for him. And so like from that moment, I was like, I am not losing to this guy. And that's crazy how I end up going out to him. But you know, it was a long day, and I was a little bit tired, and you know, I thought for a moment when he paused on Einstein that I had a chance. I thought I had a chance.
We did too.
And then I blew it with laser, which is coincidentally the same laser image that they used in season 2, which I hadn't seen at this point, of course. And then I blew it on Tesla coil. I should have had that one as well. Did Brad just get mad at it and leave at it?
Yeah, he was so
he's
pissed.
disgusted with you. He can't stand to
so
look at
This
you.
was his moment when he was like, okay, I'm out. But yeah, you know, the formulas were difficult. I don't think with, you know, wavelength wasn't one I would have ever gotten without quite a bit more studying. I hadn't studied physics really. I was just going off of what I knew. And, you know, the weight one, I was like, look at me, I clearly don't pay that much attention to my weight. Like, I don't know this one. Yeah, it's one of those where it didn't fall my way. I knew all the ones that he got, so it could have gone either way. But
yeah, it was a tough one. I think it hit harder because of who won and because the battle seemed to have been.
Yeah, and also because looking back now, watching the episode, you know, I didn't see the Beyonce duel after me on the floor in real time, but looking at it now, I was like, I also would have won that duel, so that would have been another 20K in my pocket had it been me instead of Shane.
That was so funny that it ended up just being like 2 white guys up there battling Beyonce songs.
Right? I mean,
What?
I know she's like the queen. You know, I mean, it was bad. I mean, last season 2, we had I thought one of our best duels was our Taylor Swift duel.
That was
It absolutely was.
Yes.
2 Swifties going hard. I wanted to see 2 Beyonce people. I wanted to see Alex and Ashley, or Ira and Ashley, like 2 like mega fans just bust it out. And honestly, even if you're not a Beyonce fan, and I don't know what Jake was thinking, nobody knows, and only Jake knows. And I think maybe he felt, hey, the 20,000 is there, let's go for it. Shane's another white guy, he probably doesn't know much either.
Yeah.
Let's roll the dice. But some of those were pretty intuitive. It's almost like just fill in the blank with a slogan you've heard of before.
Yeah.
That's what I felt too.
Yep.
Right. Pick a word that goes with dreams. You know,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you're gonna hit it eventually. It's I felt badly. I felt bad for Jake. I felt bad for I was still reeling from Mike, and then Shane just kind of just seem to fall into that. And
Yeah,
I'm
you
anxious
have
to
to do
see what's
much.
going to happen. He's a big target now. Next week we're going to see. He's not going to last. I'm certain of it. And he doesn't seem to have a too much depth to him. I guess we'll find out. I could be wrong. But I'm hopeful that we'll see some other people go. So Mike, now that you are not going to win, and I have been very careful to hide from all of the spoilers from everyone who knows the outcome of this show. I am living it in real time with everybody else. I still have some picks. Do you have a pick right now? Who you'd like to see take it, since you haven't seen the rest of the show either? What do you think?
Mike,
Yeah.
remember who you're in the room with.
Yeah.
You know, I think
included.
I think an Emily Alex duel would be pretty epic. You know, I'm not
Ooh, okay.
not sure. I think either of them could have a chance over there. You know, one of my picks is still Tony. I think she's super sharp, very quick. She has that time boost right now. Everyone's scared of her. Like this episode especially, we saw how many people could have picked her and didn't pick her.
Yeah.
Too. She still has that one, right?
Yeah, so I think Anatomy is scary. So that's definitely out there. So I think that corner is looking pretty good to me. I'm very curious to see what will shape up in that like bottom right corner where no one's been randomized yet, and there's just 4 of them in a row there.
When you got the Jeopardy champion,
And
there,
David's one of them. Yeah, and so we know
rubbing
it's
his
going to
hands
go over
together.
there soon.
Yeah.
And so I'm very curious to see David and how he does, on a different format show.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the format's going to be a challenge for him, but we'll see, because Jeopardy is a different kind of game. But
Yeah, it's a different format, but he's so smart.
yeah. And I mean, there are a lot of people that have really nice little niches they've carved out for themselves. And I like the way that this floor is shaping up, literally, compared to the previous seasons.
Very
we've got
different.
a lot of parody and chunks, and we've got a lot of people who've, I think it's going to be interesting to see them all tackle for it in this, second half as we get to the end. But yeah, Mike, I'm sad to say to see they're not in it. But I will say that if they do an All-Stars episode or a Redemption episode, I think you'd be absolutely in the running to be picked from this season, and I hope you do, because it'd be fun to see you continue to
Totally.
compete.
I appreciate it. Fox, if you're watching, I did win 6 duels.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I know.
I hope.
Bring me
I
on,
hope-
I'm ready.
I hope Fox isn't watching. We just talked about some crazy shit.
Skip to this part.
Although,
Let's skip
yeah,
all
good
the
point.
Shane stuff. We'll skip all that, and we'll move
know,
on to the nice wholesome stuff.
I don't think there's anything said tonight that couldn't be substantiated with some thorough fact checking, and I'm
Yeah,
proud of
that's very
that.
true.
We're not throwing out a bunch of garbage. This is all real stuff. So next week we're going to see it again. There was an interesting teaser. I think production's gotten very either purposefully careless or just they were rushed. But there's a lot of spoilers in these teasers, and
I don't
remember.
anymore. I don't watch them because of that. Tell me what's in the
Yeah.
teaser without giving me too much, right?
Exactly.
So I, can look forward to it. Tell
I
me.
turned it off. I turned it off.
I don't
but
watch it because it's too much. Like, you're spoiling it for me. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
They give it away. They show big pieces and things, and I don't know, but my WhatsApp group from our season is all about it. They're just like, oh yeah, did you see next week? Clearly so and so's gone. What's going on? And so I did not see that, but I think viewers, of course, if they watched it, probably have a clue of what's coming up. But we're going to find out what happens next week when we recap episode 9 of season 3. But I want to say thank you so much to Emily for joining us from Miami. Good luck in Oklahoma.
Yes.
And
Thank
as you
you.
continue to be a legitimate working actress on your craft.
God.
So don't let the haters
what a
get you down.
concept.
You're kicking butt.
When she becomes super, super famous, then we'll be like, oh, we know Emily.
But 100%. That's why I'm telling you right
Mhm.
now, I'm banking every one of these podcasts. I'm like, see, I knew them. And Mike, as always, I hope maybe you will come back as we get closer to the finale and offer your thoughts about how the show's progressing. And Heidi, I was so sad that they didn't show your picture building a fire for the competition slide
Right?
for Survivor. It was a super missed opportunity.
Yes.
But when I think of Survivor, of course, and I think I'm not alone here, we always think of you. So thanks for coming back and recapping with all of us. Everybody take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay, so I just stopped. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure that the app had picked up everybody. It'll tell me here. It says I'm